the producers, Jane Rosenthal and Emma Tillinger-Koskov.
We decided we had to do something. I think it was around 2010. No, 2008.
Yeah.
2007.
2007, thank you. And so we decided it was enough time. We couldn't settle on something, so this is a project that we thought we would have some possibilities. I was really looking for something that with Bob to enrich more or less where we had gone in the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s. I mean, you know, to just replicate what we had tried to do in the beginning of our careers wouldn't be anything, wouldn't be enriching in any way.
Because I've known Marty and Bob very long time, and so when they Bob came to me, called me about it, and it sounded really interesting, and the opportunity to work with them was, you know, it was very important to me. I really wanted to. For years, we almost worked together, Marty and I, at different things, and of course, Bob and I have worked together. I mean, we've known each other, I mean, since we were young actors.
And then I said, well, I have to read this book that I've been always wanting to read called I Heard You Paint Houses, and so I did read it just as research for the character, and then after I read it, I got together with Marty and I said, you got to look at this, and because I think this is what you're going to want to do. So that was it.
I'm asking you all individual questions. This is something that I'm sure everybody will have.
This is a technique that's early on, you know, it's being formed. It's like what they have said. It's a form of makeup, you know, and it could change things. And but I don't think you feel that way as an actor. I think you feel that as an actor, you're playing a role, and a role that more than likely, hopefully, you're suited for. And so when you do that, you're all bets are off, really. I mean, it doesn't matter. I know it doesn't matter what you look like.
Ultimately, there was a financial issue, too, in terms of the CGI that we did. And the reason why we went for CGI is kind of complicated because at a certain point, if I made the film earlier, they could have played younger. And then at a certain point, we missed that. And then they said, well, use younger actors to play them younger. And I said, well, what's the point of that? And back and forth. And finally, the CGI, and we tried it and said, well, let's try. Let's see, let's experiment, open it up. I mean, CGI, to that extent, is really an evolution of makeup. Really.
I always joke that my career will be extended another 30 years. But no, it's a whole interesting thing because where it will evolve, as far as, I was just thinking about copyrights and later and you and likeness and this and who gets it after we're all long gone, families and stuff like that. I mean, they even have that now in some ways with using famous actors from years ago in commercials who have create a certain whatever that they represent what that product is, whatever. So all that stuff. I don't know. I'm just happy we're at the beginning stages of it really being explored, and God knows where it'll go.
Yeah. You know how you move. These are the little things in there. You know, you're going along looking pretty. And then you go to get up, and
I know.
So someone would come by us and just say, "Hey, man, what are you doing? You're 39 here."
Thanks. Okay, good.
Hello, Kat Andreago from Free Cinema.
The value, how do you say, the value of a film that's like a theme park film, for example, the Marvel type pictures, where the theaters become amusement parks. That's a different experience, and it's not even. I was saying earlier, it's not cinema; it's something else. You know, whether you go for that or not, but it is something else, and we shouldn't be invaded by it. And so that's a big issue. That's a big issue. Having the backing of a company that says, you know, you will have no interference. You'll make this picture as you want. The trade-off is it streams with theatrical distribution prior to that. I figured that's the chance we take on this particular project.
Well, I mean, this was a simple story. It was about a guy who was caught between two people who were powerful people, and one of them was disappeared. We never knew what happened to him, really, to this day. The other one was also the Joe Gallo, referring to him. You still don't know who did that to him. It had that to hang on in some ways, this political, this grand story with these historical, if you want, type characters, and a simple story.
And also, Bob, in terms of that, when you're talking about these guys, and then on the other level, you have JFK, Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King. You've got all this going on, and nobody knows really what happened there. And I always say, would it make any difference now if we knew exactly who, when, how, and where? No. It's the dark forces that take over that are always present. And these guys are right in the middle of it, in a way. They just walk by the TV, and there's missiles coming from Cuba. You know, so, and that's your afternoon lunch. You know, so yeah, I mean, that when you say the simple story, that was the thing, to hold on to the simplicity of it, because the rest is so complicated.
To all three of you, what was the biggest challenge for each one of you?
I don't think we all got together and said, let's make a movie and reflect. You know, we're all sitting in the trailer like, you know, this is like suddenly, as I say, it's intuitive, you know. Then I think, well, Bob, Al, you know.
It was a movie that evolved. It would have, I mean, could it have been done earlier? Yes. But the story came out at a certain point. The book came out. That took so many years to evolve. We actually had problems getting the rights to the story. There was a lot of confusion there, too, that took a bit of time. And everything, and when you always see these movies, that, especially in the old days, they'd have 15 years in the making, finally on the screen. This is what it's all about. That's
really
what it is.
scheduling
You know.
and legal and
Everything, legal, schedule, actors, availability, director, everybody, the whole thing. But we're just happy that we were able to make it. And I had a great time. I would have shot for another 5-6 months with Marty.
Yeah.
If I could.
Thank you.